This is The Ordinary. I'm your host, Morten, and we're back at AntiCon with some more questions. Enjoy.
So hi, I'm Elad Simon. I'm the CEO of Zeotap. Zeotap is a AI native CDP. We work mostly in Europe and the Middle East. We have a team of about 100 people. Very excited about helping companies be successful with their marketing journey.
Hi, my name is Arjen Segers from the Netherlands. I work as a marketing technology advisor for enterprise companies.
My name is Matthew Niederberger. I'm from the Netherlands. I have my own consultancy called Martech Therapy, the little chaise longue with the cloud. And I love focusing on companies who struggle with Martech. Tooling is never the issue. Well, hardly ever the issue. It's us humans trying to deal with it.
So hi, I'm Robert Nicholson, and I'm the Director of Digital Marketing, Data and Analytics for Robert Walters, a large kind of professional services talent solutions firm based in the UK, and here at AntiCon today.
So I'm Joanna Mills. I'm the Managing Director at CRMT Digital. We're a marketing operations and AI consultancy based in the UK.
This episode is brought to you by PlayMops, your marketing ops partner. Choose PlayMops when you need independent and strategic martech advisory from start to finish, or marketing ops for hire. Get execution where and when you need it. Playmops.io.
If you could delete one type of meeting from your week, which one? That's a good question, actually. So I tell you a story, it's okay?
Yeah.
Quick story. So I actually did a meeting purge with my company a few months ago. I told everybody to delete all the recurring meetings, 100% of them, for the entire company. It was everybody thought I was kidding, but we did it. And we basically went in for, I think, 3.5 weeks without any recurring meetings. I told people if they want to do one-to-one, of course, you can chat, etc., but no recurring meetings. And that reduced, I think, about 30% of the recurring meetings. So my recommendation to ask your question is take any of the recurring meetings that you have, the weekly something or monthly something, and delete it and see what happens. And if nobody misses it, it means that it was a bad meeting and you just don't need to repeat it anymore. So that's kind of my take on that one.
What's one thing AI has actually made better in your work, not in theory, in reality? Can I say something really boring?
Yeah.
It's my tax filing. So I have to file taxes in both the Netherlands and in France. And I do speak both languages, but it's very, very difficult. It's not my job. So I used AI to get assisted in my tax filings. And that's going really well at the moment.
What's a gut feeling you had about this industry that turned out to be right? I'll tell you a fun story, actually. So I do a lot of work with CDPs, and I was and am still kind of a fan of packaged solutions. And then all of a sudden this word came around called composable. And I was like, that's never going to happen. Data warehouses and customer data. And what are you going to do? You need a all-in solution that collects the data, that cleans it, does identity resolution, that allows you to activate it. Composable is never going to happen. That's something I got wrong. So I don't know about a feeling that turned out to be right. I think that's the point where we're at now, is that the point I need to get off the chipped wood.
Okay.
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 We'll go to the other. It was nice in the shade there.
Yep. This is what happens. Yeah.
Now that we've moved, one thing that I think that I got right is that technology is not where it's at anymore. I think we are making advances. It's clear. Everyone's got AI these days. Everything's with AI. I think the real challenge is, what I'm focusing on, is that the human element in it still.
Yeah.
AI can solve a lot, but in terms of human readiness, human adoption to this technology, I think that's where most of the focus is really turning out to deliver great results.
Cool.
Which task would you hand to AI tomorrow if you trusted it? I think that's like a magic question because it's if you trusted it. I already use AI for loads. And I think for me, it's a productivity enhancer. On so many levels where you can sense check an email, you can sense check documentation, you can even get it to draft documentation rather than spending hours doing so. So I trust AI a lot, but I think you have to have done your due diligence to understand the settings within your AI, the configuration of it, which AI you're using. But for me, I already trust it. So for me, it's I'm using this already, enhancing, saving thousands of pounds worth of value, both in my personal life as well as in my professional life. Which task would I had it tomorrow if I had a magic wand? I think there's a whole load of administration in marketing leadership that I would hand to it. There's a lot of budgeting. There's a lot of strategic planning. There's a lot of, general work that stops us doing the real meat within marketing. That's the strategic side, which we get distracted with a lot of hey, can you answer this question? Can you update the budget? Can you track the budget, etc.? I think if we trusted AI a lot more, we would be much more efficient marketers.
What song gets you into work mode? Oh, that's a good one. I think at the moment that's got to be Harry Styles' Get Your Taste Back. I'm an avid One Direction fan, and I always think that gets you in the mood for thinking, okay, what am I going to do today? I'm going to get my taste back.
What's everyone automating that you think they shouldn't? Oh, this is a very difficult. This is the truth or not the truth? You want the truth or not?
Truth.
What do you prefer? Okay, so the truth is, I think right now AI decision making for marketing is more hype than reality, and this is the truth.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think it might change. The technology is evolving extremely fast, so it might become. But I have yet to have seen, especially in the large enterprises, I've yet to have seen a lot of awesome AI decision making that companies are actually comfortable with. Because the reality is, at the end of the day, many companies, all the companies want to do AI because it's the most trendiest thing in the world, etc. But actually, nobody wants to have a hallucinating agent writing their emails without any control afterwards about what actually comes out of the email. And so this is one of the most, let's say, scary things to say right now because AI is very trendy, etc. But actually, I would probably focus more on customer service right now because that's a more advanced use case for AI than on AI decision making. Maybe in the future it will become much better. Right now, what we're doing right now is on AI decision on defining audiences, which is a much safer environment because you don't actually write the creatives. You basically design audiences that are relevant for a specific use case, and you do that automatically with the help of AI. But it's still in a risk environment that is more, let's say, palatable for the large enterprises. So that's kind of how we're thinking about it right now. But doesn't mean it won't work in the future, but right now I would say I wouldn't focus on right now.
What did you want to be when you were 10, and how far off are you? I don't remember this actually. I probably wanted to join the police force, something like that. And I'm far off from that. My sister joined the police force, by the way.
What part of your job would genuinely surprise people outside of marketing? Ooh. The outside of marketing, I think it's the technological element. I think I come from a technology background in the sense that I did digital analytics, saw that the data quality was quite poor, wanted to improve that. So I turned my focus to doing implementations and trying to improve the data that companies were working with. And that kind of led into marketing. And now that I'm in marketing technology, my background is the foundation is still in technology. Mm-hmm. I'm not a creative person to say, hey, this is a great marketing or reactivation campaign that we need to focus on. So yeah, I think in terms of surprise, it's, I think since I'm dealing mostly with marketing people, it's the technical element that gets underestimated a lot, but that I think I can convince people to include in their daily work to make sure that they understand the full picture. Because a campaign is one thing, and I love these creative people who can come up with these great campaigns, but understanding how to put it into motion with the technology that's on the market today, that really makes me happy.
What's a tool you pay but barely use? What tool do I pay for and barely use? I think it depends on what you mean by like pay for. There are some tools that are, when you look at your global enterprise budget, are very expensive. And I think there was a tendency for the big platform providers a few years back to become extraordinary varied Swiss Army knives of functionality. And you would sit there and say, hey, I've got an SEO tool in there. I've got a deliverability tool in there. Most of them not very good. You'd never use those bits of functionality. I think people are much more focused on the core functionality now of like, am I getting value for it for this purpose? I think, if you're paying for a tool these days, especially with the current economic climate, you need to really get value out of every single tool. I think vibe coding is going to change that in a couple of years, where the smaller tools where you're saying I'm paying, £50 a month for a slide membership or something, Slido or something, those will change. But I think overall, I think I'm pretty good in not paying for tools I don't use. But I think that your big platform providers, there tends to be a couple of tools that aren't really supported anymore.
What's a marketing best practice you secretly think is nonsense? Oh my goodness. Give me a soapbox. I can get up on and talk about this for a long time. I think ABM is nonsense. ABM is just good marketing. You should be understanding which accounts are in market. You should have all the right personas and you should be able to get the right message out. Yeah. There's nothing complicated about that. So for me, that's nonsense.
What's one thing you hope is still true about marketing in 2035? Well, a couple of things. One, that humanity still exists. This will be very useful, I think, because everybody's talking about, World War III and the agentic taking over and bots taking over the world. So we're now in 2026. So 9 years from now, let's hope that everybody's still around. The planet's still around. We are all around. So that's one. Mm-hmm. It's not marketing. It's more like generic for the humans. And then for marketing, I would still hope that there is an appreciation for the craft of marketing, especially the creative side of marketing, that there's an appreciation for it. And that not everything is just automated, because I think everybody's noticing is that when you automate things, especially with AI, everything looks a little bit like the same. Yeah. And then we all end up in these endless loops of watching the same thing and seeing the same things and everything looking like the same thing, and which is not great. It's not very diverse and it's very boring. So hopefully human creativity will prevail by 2035. So that's my hope.
What's a vendor promise that made you laugh out loud? What's not a vendor promise that made me laugh out loud? We're here at a conference, right? It's full of vendors, even though this is one conference quite light on vendors. Vendors bring statistics. And statistics that vendors bring mostly are really well picked by people with a marketing background like the two of us, right? So you know how they pick those statistics.
Like politicians.
Yeah. So it's not about what they tell, it's about what they not tell.
Yeah.
So it's almost every promise vendors tell me. And that's why you got good people like you and me to evaluate those claims, right?
Yeah.
When was the last time you said yes? You really meant no. Work related, you mean? No.
Doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter. I think I said yes to 8 chicken wings yesterday when I wanted to have 5. So I didn't push back on it, and I kind of regretted that. But last time I said yes when you really meant no. I think it was with a project with a client of mine, and I won't get into too many details. They'd gone through the selection process for a customer data platform, and they needed a security assessment done. And so they go through this 3-month security assessment, and it gets approved. But during that 3 months, I really said, listen, I don't think this is the right customer data platform for you, looking at the goals and the rest of your MarTech stack. And he says, well, we'll just wait for the security assessment. And after 3 months, I'm told, hey, it's this tool that we were assessing, it's been approved. It was advised, it was recommended to them by an external agency. And I was too tired at that point. I was too tired of arguing and trying to convince them that it was not the solution for them. In the end, I said, you should go for it, because I think in the end, something's always better than nothing. And another 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 month delay, that costs money too. So even though it wasn't my first choice, I did go ahead and say, go for it, because it's better than sitting still.
What's a piece of marketing advice that makes you roll your eyes? Oof, marketing advice. I mean, I think the view that marketing is a colouring in function, or the legacy of marketing being sales and marketing, does make me slightly roll my eyes. The value that marketing can bring to the table is extraordinarily powerful, if allowed. But you need to use the right tools and techniques to allow marketing to deliver strategic value. And that means, support from the C-suite function, so that you aren't just the colouring in department. And if you are seen as a colouring in department, that's some marketing advice that it's not good for you.
If you could give one piece of advice to everyone at this conference, what would it be? Okay. So my piece of advice would be walk before you run with AI, because if you don't, then there'll be a big old mess to tidy up in your wake, and you won't get the ROI, because it's garbage in, garbage out with AI. It's a machine that processes everything you give it with the idea of giving you an output that's valuable, but it needs to have all of the right foundations in place from a data structure, process, architecture, technology perspective before it can give you anything of value.